For most, the Lake Placid Visitor Center is the first place that you're going to see when you actually make it into town. Which is also attached to the Olympic Museum. From inside the visitor center, there are several balconies that you can take in the landscape of both downtown and uptown. And you can see Olympic ski jump way off there in the distance as I try and focus. And up this way is actually the center portion of town where most people will start their trip. But because I was here on a conference and decided to wander around a little bit, I went over to the Olympic Museum side of the attached conference center and just started walking down one of the long corridors. I got to just about as far as you can go without actually having to pay to get into the museum. Plus, you know, I had my conference badge on and looked very much out of place wandering down these side corridors.
Hey, if I'm American from the sound system, where would I be? Oh, perfect timing.
On my first conference here, I did remember taking a picture of a Zamboni cleaning the ice, and I thought that was the coolest thing, but cannot find that picture for the life of me. Like I said, as close as I could get without actually going in. Back outside, we come down to the other portion of the Olympic Stadium. Here is a track outside of a school, but this was for speed skating and something else. There's a little placard there that I'll be zooming in on a little later. How'd you like this to be your high school? So there you can actually see the tunnel that the skaters would come out of, and sadly they were doing construction, so a lot of the things I was trying to videotape did not quite come out as well as I thought they would. Coming back to the other side of the visitor center, I'm now on the other side of the street, and we're just gonna kind of zoom in to the center of town, which is pretty much just like any Main Street USA, to borrow the term. Further along, this is generally what I spend my time when I go someplace new. Churches always are interesting architecture, and well, because it's a lake and at Lake Placid, there's lakefront views everywhere. So it's just a matter of finding little clearings like this to take a moment and enjoy the weather. It was a little rainy when I was up there, but a rainy day on the lake is still a day on the lake. And this is a little concert hall, which on occasion, never when I've been here, but sometimes they do have live performances out there. Just for some contrast to see how close you could get. Mainly, I was just testing out my new camera. I think it did pretty good. What do you think? Now, one of the main things I like about coming to this conference is Smoke Signals. It is a barbecue restaurant in town. It is one of the best, and the thing I look forward to the most. It's got outdoor deck seating for people who just can paddle up off of the lake. Now, it does have a very small menu, but that is a very good menu. I have never eaten here and had a bad meal. This, in fact, is my favorite meal, burnt ends and macaroni and cheese. But they do have a sampler platter, as well as specials like meatloaf and chicken. Worth checking out, I assure you. Now, in a town where everywhere has its own beachfront, that includes the library. It is a very small, depending on where you're coming from, but very nice library. And here, you can see, this is the seating at a library when you come to visit Lake Placid. Open to the public. You can't take books out if you're not one of the locals, but you can come here and sit and enjoy the view from the library. There are places inside even that you can look out onto the water. I've never seen a library like this. My wife's a librarian, so when we go to places like this, we do have to kind of come and check them out. Just giving an example of what the inside looks like, because again, we come and check places like this out. It's pretty cool. I mean, look, you have a deck that you can actually sit in rocking chairs, because I like doing that, and just read and look out into the water. Now, I am sorry, the video on this, not greatest. It was taken with a slightly older cell phone, so quality was not the greatest. But you get the idea, and there is the outside seating, once again, that you can enjoy from your library. I mind you, a library has these kinds of views. So we're going to travel back to the main hub of the town, and we're going to walk across the street here to the church, because if you are looking for lakefront that's not traversed a lot, you can come down to the side of the church here, and there's a little monument to look at. And again, I enjoy architecture of especially older buildings, and churches are normally the oldest buildings in a town, so there's plenty to see there. But coming down to the side of this monument, there actually is a little bit of beachfront right behind the church that's kind of out of the way and not traversed by a lot of people. And this is just a little ways down the path that I was walking. Didn't want to show you the whole thing. It's not terribly long. But here, you do have a little bit of waterfront. So I lied, it wasn't beachfront. But for me, this is my ideal type of water. I was never a fan of the beach. So, just down the road, past the little waterfront, this is something that they do during the wintertime when the lake freezes over. You can take a snow tube right down this. But this is actually the path that I walked to and from my hotel to the conference. So, there are hotels that are closer to the conference center. However, if you can deal with a 5-minute walk, you can get a slightly cheaper hotel that has continental breakfast, and there you can see it kind of off in the distance. I'll pop a card up in the corner because I did do 2 reviews of this location. It's a very nice hotel. You can see the waterfront depending on what room you're in. But this was just my attempts at vlogging at Lake Placid, home of the Iron Man.